That would mean everybody in the PC party and the NDP could have lung cancer. Put that in perspective to take a look at what that means. According to the Canadian Cancer Society, about 1 in 12 Canadian men is expected to develop lung cancer during his lifetime, and 1 in 13 will die from it. About 1 in 14 Canadian women, 1 in 14 Canadian women is expected to develop lung cancer during her lifetime, and 1 in 17 will die. And when those people get sick, the province is here to support them, but the best way to fight lung cancer is through prevention. Mr. Speaker, so how do we do this? How do we protect ourselves, our loved ones, and those in our community from this terrible disease? Well, the first and best way is either to quit or avoid smoking, and I'll talk to that later. In the last few years, we made great strides in preventing smoking, especially around young people. We have to get to our young people to make sure they don't start smoking before they become addicted. Nothing is more heart-wrenching than seeing a young person affected by this disease. Working hard and working together, we've managed to scale back those odds, though there's still work to be done in educating those in the province of Ontario about the dangers of smoking. Mr. Speaker, evidence shows you're 10 times more likely to develop lung cancer if you smoke. Think of that for a minute. Think about the dangers you can be putting yourself into. I'm glad to say that I don't smoke and never have, but not necessarily some of my family members. We're also starting to discover other things that cause lung cancer. Over the summer, one of the neighborhoods in Niagara Falls, we were delighted to have Mike Holmes stop by, who many of you will probably recognize from his work on TV. I went with him to one of our subdivisions to discuss the issue of radon in homes. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Holmes was able to tell myself and local residents of the importance of monitoring this odorless, colorless, and hard-to-detect gas. It seeps into your house through cracks in the foundation. Though there's still research to be done, we can tell that some homes where there are high amounts of radon may be affecting people's lung health. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Holmes is working his way across the country to promote radon awareness and testing for it. He was quick to tell me that some homes might return a test to say there isn't any, and the house right next to them will be off the charts. I'm not a home construction expert by no means, but if I take my advice from anybody on this issue, it would be from Mr. Holmes. Another factor is staying active. We need to make sure our young people, and our seniors for that matter, are living active and healthy lifestyles. These are the sort of things we can do to keep our lungs healthy and keep them safe. If we stop smoking, if we're aware of the causes, and if we stay active, then we can dramatically reduce the effects of lung cancer. I'm happy we're discussing this because I do believe that the government plays a role in this. I believe we have a responsibility to monitor the effects of lung disease and do everything we can to educate people and prevent it. And unfortunately, I want to close by talking about my own experience. My mother passed away in 1991, 23 years ago. She was at a tender age of 61. Mom was active in our community. My dad was fortunate enough to work part of his working career at General Motors. And from that, there's an organization within the union movement called the Women's Auxiliary. And my mother would go there, they'd play cards and darts, and that would be their social connection. And she had a lot of good friends. They really loved each other. My mom ended up being the president for 20 years of that organization, arranging a number of socials. When people went on strike, they make sandwiches. And years ago, we used to have a hall, and they used to make the roast beef dinners. And I can remember telling a story about this when I was young. I was 9 or 10 years old. And like today, there's not enough volunteers. So they were doing a wedding one night. My mom took me to the hall. I was thrilled to go. Young age, I was 8 or 9. My mom told me that if I come, she'd feed me a nice roast beef dinner. And for me, that was important. But when I got there, I didn't know that I had to wash dishes for 3 hours to get that roast beef dinner. But having said that, they were preparing the food for a member of the local. But unfortunately, my mom got sick. And then we found out that she got lung cancer. And she got really sick. And she lost a lung. And the doctor at that time said to her very clear, if you want to continue a productive life, you're going to have to quit smoking. Our family members, my sister, my brother, our relatives, our circle of friends would say to my mom, Mom, you've got to quit smoking. So my mom tried a number of times, but she couldn't quit smoking. And a lot of us have friends, maybe some in this room, some within your caucuses, that smoke, that have tried to quit, and they couldn't. So what happened? The cancer came back, and she had half her lung removed. She had half a lung left. And my mom went down to, we're not very big. You can tell I'm not very big. My mom's smaller than I am. She went down to 90 pounds, 85 pounds. And we begged her, Mom, you got to quit smoking. It's going to kill you. We went to the doctor with her, and the doctor was clear. Gloria, for your family. My dad had already passed away. For your grandkids, you have to quit. And no matter how hard my mom tried, she couldn't quit. No matter how much she loved her family, she couldn't quit. And at the end of the day, my mom passed away long before she should have. So if there's any advice I can give with this bill, is we got to tell our young people that when you have that first cigarette, that may be the start of a lifelong battle to stop smoking. And collectively, we have to do everything we can to make sure young people don't start smoking. For my mom, it's obviously too late. For people that are listening today, talk to your kids about it. Because once you start, most people find it almost impossible to quit, including losing their life. So thank you very much for giving me the privilege to talk to your bill.